Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, November 5, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the U.S. National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that for the next 7 days, we don't have any area of possible tropical cyclone development across the Atlantic. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for right now, we can see that we still have a cold front right there off to the southeast of the United States that has induced a trough across portions of the Bahamas and Florida. We can also see the intertropical convergence zone right there stretching all the way from the west coast of Africa all the way down into the southern main development region and making it almost all the way towards the Windward Islands. And we can also see some broken lines right here to the northeast of the Caribbean, or across the northeastern Caribbean as well, associated with the trough. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the amount of clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone that stretches all the way from Africa into the southern main development region. And we know the intertropical convergence zone is where all of the air from the southern hemisphere meets the air from the northern hemisphere, and all of that air piles up and rises and forms some amount of clouds, showers and thunderstorms across this region. We can also see the clouds associated with that cold front, which is all the way from the northern section of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Bahamas as well as sections of southern Florida. You can also see that we still have some leftover clouds associated with the invest area that the Hurricane Center was watching all of last week. So we can still see lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms still being experienced across sections of Central America at this time. And we can also see the clouds associated with that trough that's affecting portions of the Eastern Caribbean as we speak. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, November 5. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across eastern Jamaica last night, that was Saturday night, into early Sunday morning, and then affecting sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica during Sunday afternoon. And if you remember our video specifically, the models were even forecasting some amount of rainfall, especially across northern Jamaica during the afternoon. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. And western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. And we know our northern parishes, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary and Portland. And what ended up happening? As early as 5:05 a.m., we had the infrared satellite images being posted on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok page. So if you're not following us on one of those social media platforms, you need to ensure that you do, as we do make a lot of mini posts on those platforms as opposed to what we post here on our YouTube. And we can see that the infrared satellite images were showing clouds coming in from the east. We can see them, some faint low level clouds as indicated by the white or the grays moving from east to west. Definitely we had some amount of rainfall across sections of St. Thomas, Portland, southern coastal areas, so sections of southern Clarendon, sections of St. Mary as well. And another post was made at 2:35 p.m. highlighting the visible satellite images showing the clouds starting to build up across sections of some central and western parishes, most definitely with the focus across northern Jamaica, especially considering that we had more of an southeasterly flow across the island. So definitely we saw that cloud cover coming into sections of St. Thomas in the morning. Then during the afternoon we saw that building up across sections of some central and western parishes. More in the way of northern parishes than southern parishes. And we even have confirmation of this rainfall. Some of this rainfall even making it into northern sections of some southern parishes like St. Andrew, which is being confirmed right here by this commenter, Scream, stating raining in a constant spring this afternoon. And even although most of our commenters are highlighting the heat and the sun, we had Reno Love Her Forever stating raining in St. Anne to confirm the rain that we just saw on the north coast. So we can see that before the sun went down, the visible satellite images were showing the clouds coming in from the east. Definitely some amount of isolated thunderstorms taking place across northern and western parishes, as we could see those high cold cloud tops. And we can see it even better on the infrared satellite images that show the colors, the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges and reds, not to mention some blacks, as well as some sparkling white dots that indicate some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. So we indeed had that afternoon isolated thunder shower activity across sections of especially northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images right now, we can see that now we're back on the right time. The time is showing up to 7:30 and we're actually back on the right time. We're actually on Eastern Standard Time right now as of today. So we're back on the same time that the east coast of the United States is on. So Florida, New York, Atlanta, and Cuba as well. So we can see that the Cuban Doppler radar images are still showing some amount of rainfall right there off to the south and the west of the island. More in the way of isolated showers to the south of the island indicated by the greens. Some heavy showers right there and the yellows right off the west coast of Jamaica, and we do see some greens and yellows across northern Jamaica, but don't be fooled by that. That is actually convective feedback. That's ground clutter. That's actually more of a glitch. The real rainfall is usually moving in some kind of a directional fashion. So we see this rainfall moving from east to west or east northeast to west southwest, and that's how we know that it's rain, especially when we see it happening over on the sea and we see it just clumped up across the land like this. Nothing is really happening, especially if we look at the latest infrared satellite images and we don't see much of anything taking place across those spots. Alright, so let us take a look at what we saw on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website for the accumulated precipitation that we had for the past 24 hours. So definitely sections of eastern Jamaica with those grays and purples. Definitely sections of northern St. Andrew, constant spring, just like what our commenter confirmed, as well as northern and western parishes. So this map does paint a picture of where we indeed had that rainfall today, even although it might be a bit robust in some spots where we're seeing those greens and yellows that represent all of the millimeters that we see by the key at the bottom. So not necessarily that amount of rainfall, but it does paint a picture of the where. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and by 3 a.m. tonight, by early Monday morning, we should get down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map is showing 18D on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, and we can see that by the key on the right, we're going to be experiencing some above normal temperatures, as Jamaica right here is embedded in some yellows and some slight oranges that represent up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November in Jamaica is about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we take a look at the thermometer, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as about 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius for the temperatures on Monday across Jamaica. As it relates to the dry air map right now, we can still see that we still have a lot of moist air across the Caribbean as indicated by those blues. We do see a hint of dry air across sections of western Puerto Rico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic as indicated by those yellows and slight oranges. We know the key at the bottom represents the dry air, so yellow on the low end of the scale, and the more colorful we get, that's the more intense the dry air is. So oranges, reds, and white within those reds. And we do see a lot of reds right there off the coast of the United States, not to mention to the northwest of Africa. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we do see that Jamaica should be in the clear. Majority of the light shades of browns that represent Saharan dust should be right there across sections of the eastern Caribbean and the main development region. As it relates to the wave forecast for Jamaica, we do see those lighter blue colors across northern Jamaica, while southern and eastern parishes should be getting on those darker blue colors. And we know that the lighter blue colors represent up to 0.5 meter wave height as indicated by the key on the bottom right, and the darker blues represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave height. So it makes sense, we're seeing the highest wave heights on the south coast and the eastern portion of the island, the least amount of wave height on the north and the western side of the island, and that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be strongest on the south and eastern side, coming in from the, let's say, east-northeast for tomorrow, more from the northeast on the west coast of the island. Either way, there's going to be a lack of winds across the north coast for tomorrow. Definitely gonna be feeling warmer than normal up there, and with the upper level winds coming in from the northwest, whatever afternoon convection that develops is going to be blown off towards the southeast, something similar to what we saw today with those high cold cloud tufts being blown off towards the south. So there might be some amount of isolated showers across those various spots, and we don't have much in the way of rainfall across the island for tomorrow. Gonna be quite a dry day actually. We can however see some slight shades of blues across sections of eastern and central parishes in Jamaica, especially more on the southern side of the island. That could indicate some isolated showers or even some overcast skies, and this is valid for 4 p.m. Jamaica time. So we're on Eastern Standard Time, so there's no need to calculate and say, oh, we're 1 hour behind. So we're definitely going to be seeing that at around 4 p.m. and we see something similar on the Euro model, and we know that when they're showing something similar like this, even although it's a bit more robust than what the GFS is showing, we know we're looking for certainty in what they are showing. And the accumulated precipitation forecast is showing something similar as well. We're on the low end of the scale with the greens and slight yellows. Look at the key on the right. That represent anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to at least 0.4 of an inch of rainfall at most. And we see that it is across mainly central parishes in Jamaica. So we'll see exactly what unfolds tomorrow. We're in the month of November. We usually receive a decrease in the amount of rainfall for this month, even although the forecast models last week when we took a look, they were showing more in the way of rainfall for November across Jamaica. So we'll see exactly what unfolds before we head into our dry months from December to April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as we stated earlier, we still have some leftover clouds from that trough of low pressure that was bringing heavy thunderstorms and heavy weather to sections of Central America, including Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and we still have some of that taking place right now, even across sections of Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, and we even see a lot of activities taking place across the eastern Caribbean, especially the Windward Islands. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, we know the Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall as opposed to satellite images that show cloud cover, and we can have cloud cover around here and not necessarily rainfall. And right now we do see some rainfall right there to the east of Puerto Rico and off the northwestern coast of the island as well. Not to mention some amount of rainfall surrounding the island, the British Virgin Islands that is. Not much happening across St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda right now. And we do see some rainfall right there affecting sections of Dominica as well as some isolated spots across Guadeloupe. Look at all of that rainfall to the east of Martinique and St. Lucia. Look at Barbados getting in on some rainfall right now. This is valid for 7:40 p.m. We're definitely getting wet as we speak. And even some rainfall right there to the north of St. Vincent as well. And we can even see it better on the Barbados radar. Still have a lot of rainfall coming in from the south and east. Maybe some isolated flash flooding could be taking place tonight as well. Definitely some rainfall heading straight into Tobago right now. Not so much Trinidad, maybe some isolated spots across the east, but Tobago is taking the brunt of it. As it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we do see that rainfall that we just mentioned earlier across sections of Suriname, Guyana, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, and Mexico, and there's still more to come tonight into tomorrow. As relates to the temperature forecast for Monday, this is valid for 18th on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. We do see some blues right there that represent below normal temperatures across sections of Mexico, Cuba, southern Florida, while the above normal temperature should be spanning all the way from the eastern to the western Caribbean. As it relates to the siren dust forecast, this map is showing 2 p.m. on Monday, and we do see that we still have some slight browns that represent some amount of saran dust, but that's on the low end of the scale, and that should be situated across sections of the eastern Caribbean. They won't even be noticing that. They won't see hazy skies that drastically, and they won't even have any form of asthma or sinusitis kind of triggers, because this is not a vigorous plume of saran dust. We usually see some darker shades of browns that indicate the vigorous plume, and right now we're on the low end of the scale, and we're indeed grateful for that. As it relates to the wave forecast for Monday, we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be averaging anywhere from 0.5 per meter to at least 1.5 per meter wave height, and that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be coming in from the east, maybe across the western portion of the Caribbean from the northeast, averaging 10 to 20 knots at most. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday, and we do see that rainfall across sections of the Bahamas, some isolated spots, Cuba as well, isolated for sections of the Cayman Islands and Jamaica as well. Not to mention sections of Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands. Wherever we see those reds, that's where we're going to be getting into heavy rainfall territory. So definitely south of Guadeloupe, we're talking about Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. So those areas that are getting the rainfall right now, this could be that rainfall that they're getting right now. It could be that they wake up tomorrow and tomorrow is hot. They could be getting that rainfall right now. Either way, this map is valid for now up until 10 p.m. on Monday, so we just have to take it with a grain of salt. The rainfall is gonna be happening from now up until then, not continuously, but sometime within that time period. And we also see some rainfall in store for sections of French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador. Definitely some more heavy rainfall still in store, as we can see by those purples and grays, for sections of Guatemala, Belize, Mexico. Definitely still getting in on some flooding rainfall. So ensure that you stay safe, turn around, don't drown, so that you're not that drastically affected. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.